Thank you for coming. Good. Next to Julian. And the Ina. Yes, please. Thank you. And the Niels. The stage. And Yamada-san. And then Marco again.
Thank you.
So currently, lunar exploration mission led by national agencies are progressing with successful soft landings achieved not only by the United States but also China, India, and Japan. Some of these missions include participation from private sector companies. This is the main theme of this panel. And movement toward the post-exploration industrialization are accelerating with initiatives such as Japan's Lunar Industry Vision Council, which was introduced by Uchida-san in the keynote. And in Europe, there is the consortium called Euro2Moon. And many more are now emerging, which are private sector-driven platforms for lunar industrialization. So this panel will bring together experts from various fields, including space venture companies, terrestrial industries, emerging, expanding to the space, and startup incubators leading lunar industrialization. So we'll discuss how lunar industries could emerge, develop, and overcome potential challenges. So let me introduce our panelists. So the first one is, of course, already Hakamada-san presented. No need to explain about the iSpace, but he is CEO of iSpace Europe, Julian Lamemi. And yes, thank you, Julian. And the other two are now related to the Luxembourg. So the Mr. Olivier Zeffert, Head of Business Development, Technopole, Luxembourg. This organization, this organization is supporting, the incubation of startups. And the next panelist, Ina Uvalova, Product Manager, LightGo Space. So this is a new startup in Czech and supported by Luxembourg. And the next two are from the industries, one of multi-billion-dollar companies who are trying to diversify into the space. One is Mr. Niels Koch. Niels. And Director, European Space Business Development, Yokogawa Electric, Europe. And next panelist is Mr. Seiichi Yamada, Yamada-san. Manager, Space Technology Strategy Team, Research and Development Strategy Section, Innovation Strategies. So last one is, of course, Marco. I don't need to explain his career. Okay, so let these six panelists to briefly explain yourself, and then followed by their discussion. So the first, presenter is Julian, please.
So I'll be quick. You heard about iSpace a few minutes ago, so I'll focus on some other dimensions of the story, and basically tell you the story behind this picture, which was taken in Tokyo, showing our rover here made in Luxembourg integrated on the iSpace lander. Next slide, please. Oh, do I have it? Okay, here we go. This is our wish for 2025. Successful landing, vertical, that's the key, and a rover driving, happily along the surface. There's a few things here that are important to highlight in respect to this panel. First, you see a lot of logos on the spacecraft, on the lander and on the rover. These are, as Takeshi mentioned earlier, our partners. Most of them have been with us for already over 5 years, supporting the first mission, then supporting again the second mission. Yokogawa is part of the extended network of this Hakuto-R program. All of those companies are non-space companies. They cover luxury good, automotive, insurance, mining, and so, in my view, these are the first ecosystem, first value network of what we can expect to build over the next 10, 20 years on the moon, with more now active participation. Another thing you see, but my explanation here is that this lander has a lot of thrusters. The whole propulsion deck comes from Iron Group Germany, Lempershausen. which shows how a new space company like iSpace in Japan can leverage talent in the supply chain all across the world, and also put forward a global participation of suppliers. The way the lander communicates back to Earth is via the S-Track network. We heard about Space Internet. We're using the ground station antennas of ESA to communicate between the moon and the Earth. We're the first commercial company to actually pay ESA for the lease of those ground stations. So yet another example of how industry can play a role in developing the industrial but also public partnership ecosystem for lunar exploration. And then of course I'll tell a little more about the rover on the bottom right. You can see the scoop mentioned by Hakemada-san earlier, and I explained the relevance of that. Quickly, Tenacious is the name of this rover. It's very small, first rover ever made in Europe that's ready for flight to go to the moon, which is pretty amazing. We've been here for only 7.5 years, and over the past 2.5 years, we've built the first lunar rover made in Europe, in this case made in Luxembourg. Yet it's very small, 4 kilograms, but it's a very powerful rover. It has not only great technology, but better than that, customers that justify why we're sending it to the moon. And we designed it here, we manufactured it here, we tested it in Europe, and we're going to do the operations from downtown Luxembourg. Yet again, a first for Europe. Yet another first is we hope to do the first transaction of a space resource under the Space Resources Law of Luxembourg, passed in 2017. That law was passed, I think, in the abstract, and we're really here to concretize and put that law to a test. And we're doing all this thanks to the support of the government of Luxembourg, and also to validate a very powerful public-private partnership here. I'll skip over this video. You saw some of it earlier. It's a really cool rover being integrated on a really cool lander. The cool thing here is, iSpace created iSpace Europe here in Luxembourg in 2017, when iSpace was maybe 20 people. 20 people in Tokyo decided to open an office in Luxembourg in the wake of the Space Resources Initiative. 20 years later, 20 years, I hope we were 20 years later. 7 years later, we're 45 people. We made our first rover, and it's going to Tokyo, then it's going to Florida, and then it's going to the moon. This is what we're going to do next year if all goes well. We'll drive on the moon. This is not the moon. We're not pretending this is the moon. It's in Luxembourg, it's our lunar yard. And we'll collect regolith. Why are we doing this? It's because we have a contract with NASA asking us to collect regolith for them, quantify the amount of regolith we collected, take some pictures, and then we transfer the ownership of that regolith to NASA. So the regolith is the lunar soil. Is for a very symbolic sum of $5,000. But the intent behind it is to put to a test the regulation frameworks around the world, US, Luxembourg, Japan, and other places, and then validate the fact that we can do this commercially and that investors are safe by putting their money in space resources. This $5,000 contract is what got us, a larger contract with the space mining industry to develop this scoop and, take it to the next level. So even those symbolic contracts are very useful and powerful if you give them to, companies like us who are very forward-looking and are developing ecosystems. This is our contract. This is the Space Resource Law. We're going to put those two things together in 2025, so 8 years after the law was passed, which is pretty fast, I think, for a Space Resource Law. You saw this picture. We're on the left right now in 2025, and we already have a rover that's going to fly in 2026 on the US lander, taking a technical payload from Romania, from Ovidiu. Thanks to the support of ESA, we'll do a very cool demonstration of almost IoT on the moon, and then we're going to go larger from there. And we're a very nice bunch of people, 45 going to maybe 50, 60 and over. We're in Luxembourg. Weather is great. Today's not great, but trust me, the weather is great. We do robots. We want to do larger robots. We want to do also data analytics. We want to do a lot of things. We just need you, your talent. So please come join us, and let's go to the moon.
Thank you.
So while the file is getting uploaded, I'm very glad to be able to be at the audience this afternoon to share with you what an incubation center can be useful to consolidate a value chain regarding lunar operations. So I'm Olivier Zephyr. I'm the incubation lead of a program, an incubation program within ESREC, but I represent a technology business incubator, and I will tell you what this collaboration is bringing. So you have the European Space Resources Innovation Center, which you know as a brand into the Moon Village Association, I do believe. So we are collaborating with ESREC across an incubation program. So ESREC has been founded in 2020, 4 years, and now representing more than 20 people into the science part of the activity. So we are trying to bridge how to get from lab to market. Because into the incubation world, most of the time we will speak about the word startup, right? When you mean about early stage ventures. But within these high technological areas, I really think that our image of startups looks like what we have in our head 10 to 20 years ago. Today we are speaking of special equipment providers into harsh environments operation. This is what we are speaking about as startup providers. So with ESREC, we have defined a given program to know how to address the bridge from research to commercialization. And then you will tell me, Olivier, you're only telling me things, show me a bit what's ongoing. So let's go through the slide so you know what's ongoing even more than me. I'm a humble industrial engineer. I was delivering helicopters in harsh environment sector and took this challenge of sharing with ESREC, what does it look like to operate on the moon? What are these technological assets you have today? Yes, we are speaking of technological assets. Are we speaking of science technological assets? Or industry technological assets. So as an, again, humble engineer into industrial engineering, I'm going to share my view of it. Yes, we do need science substance, and this is what we are very glad to be able to collaborate on ESREC, knowing what's being developed here in Luxembourg as a technological footprint to prove the science. So we are working on this dusty thermal vacuum chambers, ground-based pilot plants. And this is where, as a technology business incubator, we connect it after to how can we make use of this science knowledge to serve currently commercial operators. So through the ESREC commercialization program, we work under experiential workshops, what we call lab to market prototyping, because each of the time you're editing science outputs, how can we measure, how can we operate it under a design engineering perspective? This is where we use this lab to market prototyping. Lab to market prototyping goes into an incubation phase where we're able to test currently these technologies. And we have one representative from Litigo, which will further give example of how we are working together. This is where the show me comes, how we are working together to be able to mature currently operational assets. And there's a further acceleration program which has been now launched under a collaboration with ESA with further financial support to grow currently these operational assets. Currently, this startup support program has been running now for 5 cohorts. Future cohorts are to come, 4 future cohorts are going to come, but let me concentrate on what are we searching for. We are searching for, at the stage of development of this type of cislunar operation we are sharing about, we are looking for dual challenge, meaning companies who have already existing asset under a terrestrial perspective, which can make use of it into the cislunar perspective. Or, of course, there are some players who can already own space technological assets which can run this cislunar perspective. But what we have observed under a technology business incubation center is that currently you need to work with mature teams. And that's why I said when we speak of a new blend of startups, we are speaking of early stage venture who already know what does it entails to operate the technology diplomacy, which is necessary to run into space. Because it's not about publishing an app into a platform. It's about currently being able to run across different topics other than the technology. How to have a good governance, how do you hold the government talks to be able to run your commercial assets. Across, the program is running across the different activities that you can project on a value chain, and with some transversal activities regarding transportation, waste management, communication, robotic system, energy, you name it. But all of this will come down to technology providers that can give us an offer under the incubation program. And what we offer under this incubation program is how can we mature it, test it, and bring it as a consolidator currently within a type of marketplace. When I speak of marketplace, we are speaking about a future cluster where currently the relations between OEM and providers can share together what are the missing areas, where do we need to source new technologies. And I believe Litigo will be able to demonstrate how we are offering a new value regarding prospecting and characterization of space assets. So I will leave a room for Ina saying that. So far, we have incubated 3 companies throughout this program. But my core message, and I'm going to be short, it's about being able of being the consolidator from Luxembourg. Because we believe this industry is an international, worldwide collaboration de facto. As Julien was just poking before, we are able to consolidate technological assets from different parts of the world to know how are we able to mature them, to bring it in simple terms, just a basic graph. I'm a basic technician. The point of what we are observing today, you have different, on the x-axis, different stage of technology. Early stage, mid stage, late stage. And we have different layers of market readiness. You have low market readiness on y-axis and high market readiness. On the top right, we are seeing now on the market some commercial partnerships, meaning there are technological assets which are already almost proven. But what we need, I believe, to speak of industry is the output rate. So far, we know what we need as input. We know what technological asset we need as input. We know what's the given performance in throughput. But what we are expecting is the output, to be able to reach to the whatever type of the format of commercial partnership we can work with. And this is where ESRIC is sitting with the given technology experts, which are able to guide the forecast of future outputs. And on our side, as a technology business incubator, we are looking forward how we can consolidate the different players to go through commercial outputs. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I think we are a very good example. So to tell you a story how it all started. So we are the company itself is a spin-off from Central European Institute of Technology. So basically from institute, from the science. And the company first was established in Czech Republic. So we have the transfer from Earth to space. So we have already like some assets for the ground use. We are producing the basically machines of this technology that I will explain a little bit more, because the name LEAPS and maybe if I say laser-induced breakdown spectroscopy doesn't tell you very much. But this technology is used for elemental analysis. And then there was an opportunity basically to use this technology in space for prospecting of resources, and that's how Litigo Space started, and the office in Luxembourg started being incubated in ESRIC. And majority of the team also is non-space engineers. I've been invited to work for Litigo with my space background to support the technology also development. But of course, without ESRIC support, which is covering not only technology, but all the administrative, registration, legal aspects, especially for the startups when we don't know exactly yet how to reply the question about, I don't know, the intellectual property of how to drive the projects and so on. So this is the great support. About how, yes, where we are in the value chain and how this technology look like. There's supposed to be a video of a very nice rover with our payload running, but apparently You have to imagine it. So the technology works the way that it's not easy technology, but it's a very good technology in terms of like a value. Oh, exactly. If you can put the music down. Thank you. So basically you shoot the laser, you ablate the surface, and then with these ablated shiny elements, you just do the spectrometry. So what it gives you, it gives as output a spectra, and from the spectra you can derive the elemental analysis, and knowing the elements you can derive the mineralogy. So what does it mean? It means, as Leitigo we say, analyze to utilize. So it's not only for prospecting, and the advantage is that it's very fast. So to imagine how fast you can do this, you don't need to prepare the sample, you just shoot at the point where you are. The distance can be up to, I would say for the moon it's 10-20 centimeters. So you can do it in a certain distance, and you can have the result basically after a few seconds of analysis. In the terrestrial utilization, we also plan to implement it into the sorting of the plastics, where you have a conveyor belt speed and it's matching it, so it's that fast. And not only for prospecting, where you're at the very beginning when you want to understand whether you want to take this sample or you prefer to go somewhere else, not only regolith but all the types of minerals and so on. We've been approached to, let's say, to reply the question whether it's possible to detect the helium-3. This methodology is very good for light elements especially, so we need to try it, we need to test it, but there is a high chance that it is possible, not only for the moon, of course, for the next celestial bodies, asteroids, Mars and so on, but after prospecting, we can imagine, I mean, we saw many companies and agencies presenting that then, I mean, you want to use something with this regolith, you want to use something with the resources. And after you process it, you also need to understand how the quality looks after processing, either for the habitats or for the fuel or other resources. So this is also possible to do using LIPS. Where we are for the development, of course, the space hardware is quite challenging to develop, and these instruments, based on the LIPS technology, flew already on several missions. Mainly, I think it was 4 missions to Mars and 1 mission, recent one, Chandrayaan 4 to the moon, and. Of course, what we try to develop is the commercial unit with the rovers funded by NASA, China, Indian Space Agency. The rover is quite big. The instrument itself is quite powerful, big, and very expensive. But the goal is to develop something available commercially for the companies like iSpace, Lunar Outpost, and so on, to enhance this exploration. For the terrestrial use, I think the big systems are there already. We are selling them all over the world. The small system, which can be used in the mining industry or polymer industry, they are under development, but the prototype is existing. It was here 1 year ago, already running. And here is also where we have a support for sustainability of the company, because we know that the market is not there yet to sell the mass-produced pieces, but the terrestrial market, which will give this stability and help us to invest in space, is also supported by ESRIC, to remember that we need to cover this area. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Tina.
I'm from a company maybe not known in the space industry, but let me briefly go through what Yokogawa is. So this is just a little bit of my background. I will skip this because of time. So Yokogawa is a Japanese headquartered company with about 18,000 people globally. and I'm part of the European headquarters based in the Netherlands. And we focus on the control and measurement of processes. So we're having our own products to measure all sorts of fluids and gases, and we have our own control systems and safety systems for complex industrial facilities that operate 24/7 and 365 days a year, and we want to use that technology for space. So here you see a brief overview of the company. Maybe for those from Europe, this is Japan in the middle. So normally we have Europe in the middle of the picture, but this is Japan in the middle of the picture. And on the top left, that is the company where I reside. So it's a global company, basically doing its own system integration. Now, I started by saying that we're not in the space industry, but actually, as a company, we have been in 1961. So, as a company, we supplied first to the so-called predecessor of JAXA, the ionosphere measurement, and later on, that was also supplied to NASA and the Nike project. And then it took a while for Yokogawa to get re-established in the space industry. So I skipped many years, and then now we're in 2019. And here I think Yokogawa, from my colleagues in Japan, really picked up the space industry again. And from iSpace, I think we already heard the Hakuto R project, where Yokogawa is involved in as one of the suppliers. We're also one of the suppliers in the project of Chiyoda, where also iSpace is there, where we also collaborate with the universities of Tokyo and Ibaraki, sorry for my pronunciation. And then I think this year or end of last year, much closer to our core business, is we released the development with the Japanese company JGC to develop and support the ultra-remote communications, so basically operating a production facility from Earth. And as already mentioned by Crossan, we also entered the collaboration called Euro to Moon, which was established here in Luxembourg. I think one of the last companies joined, and here we are really looking at the energy value chain potential on the Earth, on the Moon. Sorry. Here, that is showed here. So basically, all those areas in the yellow boxes, Yokogawa already has solutions or products, and from that point of view, we're looking at making those products and solutions ready for Moon, and vice versa. We want to learn from this exercise, maybe to create new kind of products that we can use on the Earth for our existing client base. Let me skip this. Well, maybe not. So this is part of Euro to Moon and the collaboration with Chiyoda, and here you see also the other parties. And I think Julian already touched on that. This is really a collaboration of commercial companies looking into a solution on the Moon. And next to iSpace collecting regolith, this is a solution that we are developing. That is a small drill and a vaporizer to really separate the water into oxygen and hydrogen, and then use those elements, of course, in further use on the Moon. Ultra remote, and let me finish here.
Thank you much, Nils.